boys and girls. Welcome to the 2 Count. I am your host, Richard Roberts. And today on the show, we are going to tell you who Brock Lesnar's SummerSlam opponent might be. Also, WWE Hall of Famer on why this upcoming WWE brand extension, this whole draft thing, this split, could be a good thing here in the WWE. But we start with Raw. Last night's Raw was arguably the most boring Raws we've seen in a long time. It was on July 4th, so you could, throw that in there why ratings will be bad. Of course, we will not know the real rating until tomorrow because of the holiday. It will not show up until tomorrow, but many are projecting it to be pretty bad. Really bad. Below a 2, like a 1.8. That's how bad it could be. Overall, the show was a usual Raw, pretty boring. It seems like the only well put together Raws, the most exciting Raws, are the ones before and then after a pay-per-view. This one being not either one of those. Of course, July 4th is a national holiday. Most people are out partying, drinking, watching fireworks. They don't want to be sitting at home watching television. It did good on Twitter. It was number 1 on Twitter as far as tweets and stuff like that and trendings. But overall, the rating is going to be pretty bad. It is probably going to be rated the worst Raw ever on July 4th. WWE Raw has been going, what are they, over like 1,100, 1,200 episodes? So, that's going to tell you how bad this one is, especially going to be. The high point to me on Raw was the announcement of the Club versus Enzo and Cass, aka the best tag team WWE has right now, in my opinion, and then John Cena. So it'll probably be most likely a 6-man tag. I don't see anything else coming. I don't think they're going to do some tornado tag. I think it's going to be just a regular 6-man tag at WWE Battleground, which is, I believe, the last Sunday of this month of July. That could be a good match. Of course, Enzo and Cass, they've been a tag team for a while now. They work well together. I think they work well against the Club. Of course, AJ Styles against John Cena, they work well together, even though AJ Styles most likely carries him. But as far as AJ Styles and John Cena, it most likely is going to be another singles match between them two at SummerSlam, which I think is going to be, quote-unquote, point being, phenomenal. They worked a really good match at Money in the Bank. I don't know if it was 15 years in the making. I don't know if it was a WrestleMania-worthy match, but SummerSlam being probably the second biggest pay-per-view of the year for WWE, I think they're going to put on a good show. But point being, as far as the Raw rating is going to be, we're not going to know until tomorrow, Wednesday, but it's going to be pretty bad. And of course, July 4th, what do you expect? Let's move on. Speaking of SummerSlam, WWE is not yet announcing Brock Lesnar's SummerSlam opponent. They will announce his opponent on this week's SmackDown. And of course, the tapings are tonight, which is Tuesday. Usually the tapings are not spoiled until Wednesday morning, so we will not know until Wednesday morning, but many are speculating that it is going to be Randy Orton, as he is set to make his return in the next few upcoming weeks. He is added to all the live events that are coming on. He has been reported at the training center in Orlando to do some training to get back to, I guess, 100%, because as far as we know, he has come out and said that he is not 100% yet. and the WWE is making sure that he wants to be, that he's going to be 100%, so there's no setbacks. That is the latest rumor that's going around right now for SummerSlam. Brock Lesnar versus Randy Orton. Honestly, I like it. I like it. I think Randy Orton and Brock Lesnar work well together. The only problem is, are they going to bring back Randy Orton as a heel? Because Brock Lesnar is already a face. Doesn't matter what he does. He can make fun of the crowd. He will be a face. Just the stuff he does in the ring, on the mic, especially Paul Heyman on the mic, he will turn any heel into a face in one show. That's how good he is. But this all depends on what happens at UFC 200. Because let me tell you, if Brock Lesnar loses at UFC 200, his gimmick, his character is completely destroyed. And what is the WWE going to do? I mean, Brock Lesnar in the WWE is this tough guy, is this unstoppable force, this unstoppable wrecking force that cannot be beaten. Well, guess what? If he loses at UFC 200, well, that is just going to tell the WWE fans, including the smart fans, that, okay, this gimmick's not going to work out because he lost in real life, so how can you fake a wrecking ball gimmick in WWE? It's just not going to work out. It's not going to work out. So, it's going to depend on what happens at UFC 200. But as far as we know, it has been confirmed that we will find out who Brock Lesnar's SummerSlam opponent is on this week's tapings of SmackDown. And I believe it's the final taping because the next SmackDown is going to go live, I think. No, I think there's one more, and then we're going to go live because the draft is going to be on the first live episode of SmackDown. Speaking of the draft, which brings me to the next segment here on the 2 count, and that is WWE Hall of Famer Jim Ross on his, I believe his latest blog, has come out and said, quote, "I do think the WWE brand split can be one of the most significant business maneuvers that WWE has done in years," end quote. The great Jim Ross. I'm 100% on board. I completely agree with him. The WWE has not done anything maneuver-wise good in the WWE in the past couple of years. It's been pretty bad. The word predictable comes into mind more and more as I think of WWE maneuverizing ratings and trying to get a better fan base and trying to put on better shows. The WWE has just become predictable. I mean, everybody pretty much already knows what's going to happen, especially at pay-per-views. Pay-per-views they've become so predictable. This past pay-per-view at Money in the Bank, I'm pretty sure 95% of all fans predicted Dean Ambrose, not only predicted Seth Rollins would become the new WWE champion, but they also predicted Dean Ambrose would win Money in the Bank and cash in later that night. And guess what? That's exactly what happened. It's become predictable. So with this brand split, though, I believe we are going to see an equally based, I don't know if that's a word to describe it, but I think we're going to see equal talent on both shows. I think it's going to be well balanced. I believe Raw will have their stars. I believe SmackDown will have their stars. I think they will both put together good shows, good quality bookings. And the best thing about it is they're all going to have their own storylines. So we're not going to see the same storylines. And I think if the writers nail it, I think this could be a very, very good thing in the WWE. There's tons of questions outlined in this draft right now. I mean, are we going to see 2 world champions? Are we going to see 2 tag team champions? Or is the tag team champions going to appear on both shows? Or is Raw going to have the tag team champions and SmackDown going to have the women's champion or the Intercontinental of the United States? Those are the kind of questions that we still do not have answers for, and I'm begging for an answer. I'm waiting for an answer. I would not like to see 2 world champions. The last time they did that, they had the WWE Championship and then the World Heavyweight Championship, and then the WWE Championship their image was so much higher than the World Championship. I mean, I remember CM Punk having the WWE Championship, and then the World Championship would change. The title would change hands every month, and then the person that had it before the new champion would end up on the pre-show the next month. Not cool. I hope they make it right this time. I would like to see the WWE World, if they name it these ways, the WWE Champion having like a 90% image, and then the World Heavyweight Champion having a 90% image. They need to get it right. And as far as the other titles, yeah, you can have one show have the Intercontinental title, and you can have the other show have the United States Championship, but you have to make the Intercontinental Championship and then the United States Championship, you have to make them the second best belts in that brand. You can't have guys like Kalisto, with no disrespect to Kalisto, but you can't have him on a major brand show like Raw or SmackDown holding the United States Championship, and then having guys on SmackDown like AJ Styles or Kevin Owens that aren't in the main event, and that's if they get drafted, I'm just saying, but that aren't in the main event, not holding the title, not in a feud, not in a storyline, and then have Kalisto hold the United States Championship and have him defend the title in random matches, because that's all usually seen on SmackDown is just random matches. It's like they only take the main storyline and hype it up on SmackDown. You never see continuous storylines on SmackDown. It's just all random matchups for some reason, and it's all predictable. And then another thing is splitting up tag teams. That is stupid, in my opinion. Don't split up tag teams. Have this amount of tag teams on Raw and this amount of tag teams on SmackDown. Why split tag teams up? Because, honestly, this is the strongest the tag team division has been in years. You can't split them up. And as for that, are you going to add another tag team belt like they did before? I believe it was in the first draft back in 2002, 2001, 2003 that we had the WWE Tag Team Champions and we had the WCW Tag Team Champions. And they did the same thing. They did the same thing they did with a couple years ago with the title belts. They overlooked one brand name title over the other. If you're going to do it right, have your Raw division of tag teams and have your SmackDown division of tag teams. Separate storylines and have separate belts. That's the best way to do it. And from what I'm hearing lately, is that we're going to see separate pay-per-views. Meaning, are we going to have 2 large events, 2 pay-per-views per brand a month? Honestly, money standpoint, money-wise, that'll be terrific for the WWE. because obviously you're gonna have a pay-per-view and another pay-per-view. So you're gonna have 2 pay-per-views a month. You're gonna sell more merchandise. You're gonna sell more tickets. It'll just work out. The only problem is, are we gonna see in those pay-per-views? Are we gonna see the first couple matches of the Raw pay-per-view be boring, filled with low-card superstars that get no over? And then the rest of the show, are we going to see those, good matches, those highlight main events with superstars that get over? Same thing with SmackDown. And I think that's what the WWE is trying to do by getting all this talent, by going, international, going to the indies, bringing back old superstars. And my problem with that is if they get these old superstars, they don't have to use all of the NXT guys, which means NXT will not die. Because as far as I know, everyone from NXT is coming up. So what is NXT going to do? Like, are they just going to go out and get more indie stars and replace all the NXT stars that are with them now with all these indie stars? That'll work. I wouldn't mind that. I wouldn't mind seeing guys like Colt Cabana, Jay Lethal, any of these indie guys come and be the new brand of NXT, and then have all the NXT guys that are in it now, like Samoa Joe, like Finn, like Nakamura, come up and grace the brands of Raw and SmackDown. Now, some of these old guys are going after, they've been reported, guys like Kurt Angle, Jeff Hardy. I'm not sure if Goldberg was one of them. Rey Mysterio was one of them. Look, that's all fine and dandy, but you can't, because if you have these guys as the face, we're just gonna have the same old response from the fans saying, "Oh, but you guys gotta push the little guys. You guys gotta push the mid-carders. You guys can't have these guys come back and automatically be to the top." That's the whole reason why Dean Ambrose is the world heavyweight champion. You just can't do it. I mean, it'd be cool to see these guys come back, maybe for a couple months. But I mean, I would much rather see Kurt Angle come back and then have the WWE do what they did with Rob Van Dam, give him the spotlight for a month, give him a small feud, and send him off. Because Kurt Angle, getting old. Rey Mysterio, getting old. Jeff Hardy, Matt Hardy, getting old. You got to bring up these NXT stars and give them the feuds first. Nakamura versus AJ Styles. Nakamura versus Brock Lesnar. Finn Balor versus Seth Rollins. Those would be much better matchups than Goldberg versus Kurt Angle. Or Goldberg versus John Cena. John Cena does great things outside the ring. Inside the ring, he's not liked. His gimmick is horrible. But you can't change that. He's great on the mic. He knows how to pump a crowd up. He's tremendous on the mic. His wrestling ability's iffy. But then you look at Goldberg, who's, 50? Sluggish in the ring. The last time he was in the WWE ring, he was getting booed out of WrestleMania. When you're getting booed out of WrestleMania, that's not a good thing. And it was in the match with Brock Lesnar, who was also getting booed. Brock Lesnar came back. He's obviously, a fan favorite. We don't know if Goldberg's going to be a fan favorite. So, with this brand split, the WWE has to make it right. They have to equally balance the talent out so one show does not overshadow shadow the other show like they did. That's why SmackDown is horrible now. That's why nobody watches SmackDown, because for the past couple of years, Raw has had the talent. Raw has had the talent. You see stars on Raw that aren't on SmackDown. It's pretty much that's how it goes. That's why Raw is better than SmackDown. I want to see SmackDown better, not better than Raw. I want to see SmackDown coexist with Raw. I want to see better talent on SmackDown, and I think that's what we're going to see with this brand split. Moving on, tonight on TNA Impact, we are going to see it. For the past week, I've heard it pronounced so many different ways. We are going to go with the deletion match, I guess, between Jeff Hardy and broken Matt Hardy. Matt Hardy looks weird right now. If you don't watch TNA, if you don't watch Impact, and you haven't seen Matt Hardy since the WWE, you're going to look at Matt Hardy and you're going to be like, no, that's not him, but it is him. And this match is being hyped as a match that's going to save TNA, a match that's going to propel and increase their ratings tenfold, a match that's going to make TNA more watchable than WWE? Really? Back in the Monday Night Wars of the WWE and WCW, WCW was destroying them. Of course, we all know what changed it, the whole Mick Foley, Tony Shinobi scandal that went on. Is this the point in TNA's horrible career? Because let's face it, they're getting destroyed in ratings. Nobody's watching them. They're flip-flopping TV networks. Is this the point where they overpower the WWE with this one match? Matt Hardy versus Jeff Hardy? Don't get me wrong. I think it's going to be pretty darn cool. They work well together. We've seen it in the past in WWE. But is age catching up with them? Is this match going to be good as what everyone thinks it's going to be? Is this match going to save TNA? In my opinion, no. Because one match isn't going to save a company. At least not in today's wrestling world. One card? 1 week? A month of tremendous booking? Now that might save a promotion. But right now, you got indie promotions like Ring of Honor, like New Japan Pro Wrestling. You got these promotions that are much better than TNA. And TNA is considered a global promotion, right? I'm pretty sure they're still considered a global promotion. And then here you got Ring of Honor, who has more fans and, in my mind, better talent than TNA. Is this match going to save TNA? We're not going to know. We can't predict we could predict the future, but at the same time, it's the kind of match that it's 50-50. It might save TNA and it might not. Is age going to catch up to him? And are they going to put up a sloppy match? Is this deletion match even considered a match? Because from what I heard, we're going to see Jeff Hardy doing swanton bombs off of trees and fireworks. But what the hell is going to go on in this match? Oh my God. I will definitely be tuning in. And we'll recap it on next week's show. Is it gonna save next week? Is it gonna save TNA? Who knows? Guys, when we come back, we are going to have this segment, This Week in Pro Wrestling. We'll be right back. Alright guys, welcome back to the 2 Count. This Week in Pro Wrestling, Ring of Honor World Heavyweight Champion Jay Lethal will be throwing out the first pitch in the Tampa Bay Rays and the Anaheim Angels baseball matchup. Jay Lethal has been World Heavyweight Championship, let me check my cheat sheets, for 381 days. He beat Jay Briscoe on Friday at Best in the World pay-per-view, and he beat Kyle O'Reilly the next night. And he actually faces Colt Cabana July 16th in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. He is a Tampa Bay resident, a Tampa Bay native. He will be throwing out the first pitch. That is Jay Lethal, everyone. And also, tonight on ESPN, we are finally going to get to see the Wyatt family on ESPN as Jonathan Coachman, the former WWE, I don't even know what to call him, back when he was in the WWE. He will be showing up on SportsCenter tonight, so look forward to that, guys. And also, this week in pro wrestling 9 years ago was right around the time where Chris Benoit tragically committed suicide and tragically taken the life of his son and his wife Nancy. It was this day 9 years ago where the report came out saying that Chris Benoit was emotionally depressed after his neighbor had passed away, and also his longtime Japanese wrestling friend had passed away, and also the doctors told him to start writing a diary of him talking to Eddie Guerrero, maybe to cope with him and try and, get him in his mindset about talking to Eddie Guerrero daily. Some weird things going on. Of course, if you guys don't know who Chris Benoit is, if you're new to wrestling, Chris Benoit was, a long-time wrestler, like 20 years, WCW, WWE. Tragically committed suicide. Tragically, I guess you can say, murdering his autistic son and his wife. Chris Benoit was a technical wrestler. He was considered one of the greatest technical wrestlers in wrestling history, and it was this day 9 years ago when that report came out, guys. Anyways, guys, that is it for the 2 count, guys. We appreciate you stopping by here at the show. If you guys liked it, please smash that like button, subscribe if you're new, and we will be back with you next Tuesday for another edition of the 2 count. I'm Richard Roberts, guys. Y'all have a good one.